Alright, now let's go into vector operation. Now vector operation is when you have two vectors or three vectors that you have to do addition, subtraction, or scalar multiplication. So let's say that you have a vector u is equivalent to let's say 1i plus by 2j, and vector v is 3i plus by 4j. Let's see. Okay, so if the question asks, let's say the first one, vector u plus by vector v, so how you want to solve for this is you add the components by components. So this is the component for I, you add with the component of I on vector v. And the component for j for vector u, you add with the component of j on vector v. So you're going to have something like this. So 1 plus by 3, I plus by 2 plus by 4j. And then you simplify. Then you're going to get 4i plus by 6j. As simple as that. Okay, you add by components. So let's say the question asks the second one. Alright, now let's say if the question asks you vector u minus by vector v. So what happened is that your component of I would be minus by component of I on vector v, and the component of j on vector u minus out the component of j by vector v. So what you have here is 1 minus by 3i. Now in this middle part, you just put at. Right? You just put at, because the one that is minus out is the component. Alright? It's not the operation over here. It's the component of the operation that it is minus. So it will be 2 minus by 4. So simplify, you're going to get negative 2i plus by this would be negative 2j. Or you can write this negative 2 I minus by 2j. As simple as that. Let's say they put a scalar. Okay, for example, you have, let's say 2v plus by 3u. Okay, so over here you see there is a scalar in the front of the vectors. So what you can do is you multiply first your scalar with your vector. So let's say this is 2 multiplied by vector v, which is 3 and 4, plus by 3 multiplied by vector u is 1 and 2. Then you expand and simplify. So you're going to get, so this one you will have 6 and 8 plus by 3 and 6 equivalent to, now this time around you add by component. So component I, so you're going to have, this is 6 plus 3, component j, and component j, you're going to have 8 plus by 6. So simplify, you're going to get 9 and 14. Or you can write it as 9i plus by 14j. Okay? So that's how you do the vector operation. Or sometimes they can ask you like this. Now still I'm going to use the same example of this u and v, but the question asks you what is the magnitude of 2 u vector u. So first thing first, find your vector of 2u. So what you can get is 2u is equivalent to 2 multiplied by the vector of 1 and 2. Then simplify, you're going to get 2 and 4. Okay, now this mean a magnitude. So sometimes the question doesn't say magnitude in sentences. So they just give you the symbol of this. You should know that it is a magnitude. So what is the magnitude for this? So having the magnitude for this would take the, this is going to be your A, this is going to be your B. So A would be 2 square plus by 4 square square root. Equivalent to, you can calculate using your calculator, which give you square root of 20, or you can simplify as such, 2 set 5. Okay, are you okay so far? Or they might ask you something like this. So again, this means a magnitude. But to find the magnitude, you have to solve your inner part first. So find what is the operation over here. 2u minus by 3v equivalent to 2 multiplied by 1 and 2 minus by 3, v is 3 and 4. Simplify, you're going to get 2, 4. This is minus by 9 and 12. Okay, then you will have minus by the components. Alright, so minus by the component, you will have 2 minus 9, and this would be 4 minus by 12, which gives you minus 7 and minus 8. Okay, once you get this, right, you can find your magnitude. So you can say that the magnitude of 2u minus by 3v is equivalent to negative 7 square plus by negative 8 square root. So you will have a square root of 113. So this is going to be your magnitude. Alright, so I'm going to change a bit with a different value. Let's say that you have the u is a 5i minus by 3j, and your v is 2i plus by 4j. They ask you to find the unit vector of u plus v. Okay, now what does it mean by this question? Means that you have to solve for u plus v first. So you name it as any name that you like as a vector. So let's say I name it as vector w is the same as u plus v. Alright, vector u plus vector v. Addition would be having, now component of I, 5i plus by 2i, and then your component of j, you can write it as such, negative 3 plus by 4, equivalent to 7i plus by 1j. Okay, so the unit vector means the cap of this. This cap, alright, so you're going to have the w cap because you let this. So which means that the unit vector formula is that you will have, this is the ratio of vector w over by magnitude of w, which you can get it as 7i plus by j over by, your magnitude will be 7 square plus by 1 square root, equivalent to, give you 7i plus by j over by square root of 8. Or you can simplify your final answer, the unit vector of w, or this one is the same as unit vector of u plus v, equivalent to 7i over by square root of 8 plus by 1 over by square root of 8j.